Hey there, welcome back to High Infidelity, the best channel for cheating stories. Like and subscribe to channel for more spicy stories. Now, let's get into today's story video.
My 28 male boyfriend, 30 male, decided it was okay to talk about our life with my estranged sister, 34 female. I need to know where to go from here. The stress of her master's program, as well as the burden of raising her kid and coping with a failing marriage, prompted my sister to lash out at my parents and me throughout the summer of last year. I was the only one who was not affected by her behavior. Because her disagreements with my parents at the dinner table were so nasty, she would sometimes call my parents and rant at them over the phone while yelling some incredibly awful things. This is not made up. You are no longer the mother of a girl. Never, ever again will you be able to see your granddaughter. As well as being continuously made fun of by her husband, she was regularly involved in intense verbal arguments with him over a variety of issues. In one instance, she and her husband got into a 2-hour argument over his failure to fill the gas tank in her vehicle. Our suspicions about her having a mental disorder, which my family and I had for quite some time, turned out to be correct. During her lifetime, my grandmother suffered from severe schizophrenia symptoms, which have a propensity to be passed down through families. Everyone in my family has been in therapy at some time or another for a variety of reasons, the most recent of which has been to attempt to find out what is wrong with my sister, who has been in treatment for the last year. Several different therapists have informed us that, based on what we've discussed, she looks to have a mix of borderline and paranoid personality disorder, and that until she enters into one on one therapy, nothing will ever get better for her. This is something that has been kept a secret from her. I did, on the other hand, come to the end of my rope. The disruption that my sister was creating in my life was becoming too much for me to stomach, and I decided that it would be best for me to break off all communication with her for the time being while I thought out what I should do next. She was enraged that I cut her off and proceeded to disparage me on social media to all of our shared friends and family members, which I thought was unjustifiably harsh. She decimated it all over social media platforms, including Twitter, Facebook, and any other she could locate. In fact, she established a hashtag. Yeah, I'm not joking. She started a hashtag to keep track of how many months it had been since I had last talked to her, and she made sure that all of our common contacts were aware of it as well. It was disappointed that none of them ever came to me to hear my side of the story, which was frustrating. My friends and family had all but stopped communicating with me and no longer even invited me to their social gatherings. So I allowed myself to grow apart from them on the grounds that, hey, my sister needed friends so she could have them. And I didn't want to be a part of this any longer, so I allowed myself to grow apart from them. I'm going to cut my losses and leave this place as soon as possible. If I'm being really honest, I never revealed any of the specifics of what happened between my sister and myself with anybody else, with the exception of my parents and my current boyfriend. I didn't because I didn't think it was anybody else's business, and I didn't want to embarrass myself by spreading our dirty laundry in front of everyone. It was my initial expectation that my sister and I would be able to settle our issues on our own, just the two of us, from the beginning of the process. I was a touch off the mark with my prediction. When everything came crashing down, I demanded that my partner refrain from communicating with her in any manner at all. Her world, or any of the craziness she was conjuring up, was something I didn't want him to get engaged in, since it had absolutely nothing to do with him and was completely out of his control. In addition, my desire to keep control of the situation had a role in my decision making. When it came to the two of us, I knew the only way things were going to improve was if I was in command of the situation. The other day, my boyfriend and I got into a heated discussion. His behavior was disruptive and woke me up, and I only managed to get 3 hours of sleep after returning home inebriated the night before, which is great with me. He's free to party as long as it doesn't threaten himself or anybody else. Because I was irritated, I slipped into his phone while he was taking a shower and texted him to let him know that I had accessed his phone without his knowledge. I was astonished to learn that he and my sister had had a few conversations over the period of many months, something I had not anticipated. He felt obligated to reach out to her and introduce himself for whatever rationale he had come up with. She spent the majority of the time telling him her side of the story, omitting the terrible things she'd done and placing the blame squarely on my shoulders, while also attempting to give him an accurate analysis of my psyche. I'm the golden child of my family. I'm a spoiled brat. I've never been responsible for anything except myself. I live a life of isolation, and so on and so forth. And when she did this, he was willing to take it. His words were non committal. He didn't say anything like, this is really not any of my business. The two of you need to work things out. He just kind of took her word for it and went away. Then he and her exchanged phone numbers with each other to keep in touch. After that, I realized that they had been messaging back and forth amongst themselves. It wasn't until later that I realized he had been sharing sensitive details about our life with her. Following that, it wasn't until he came from the shower and approached me with his phone that I realized I had completely forgotten about him. He looked at me like I was crazy as I slammed the door in his face and shouted at him. I was in a lot of discomfort. On a true level, I felt deceived by the situation. Instead of reaching out to my parents, friends, or anybody else, he opted to engage in a conversation with my sister, whom I hadn't talked to in over a year, and express his dissatisfaction with our present position. I was shocked and disappointed. He said that he did it because he feels that the two of us need to work on our relationship to repair it. It was explained to me by him that he reached out to her because he just desires for the happiness of my family. And, although this is nice, it does not prohibit him from discussing our life with her in any way, and how this would be regarded appropriate in any situation is beyond my understanding. Furthermore, it has absolutely nothing to do with him, and it is not his responsibility to mend the poor connection that exists between her and me at this time. Period. The refusal of my boyfriend to comply with my specific request that hey, don't make any contact with my sister since everything is going wrong and I have to deal with it, would result in a severe breach of trust on my part, in my opinion. This is particularly true in light of the fact that I initiated the conversation by asking him the question. It was quite necessary for me. This was something I didn't want anyone else to become involved with, other from my own family. What should I do in this situation? Story 2. Should I, male, 19, get back with my ex female, 20? Greetings, gentlemen. My girlfriend and I had just celebrated our 6-month anniversary together when she decided to break our relationship after 13 months of being together. Basically, the idea of the story is that our relationship is amazing when it's going well, but it's awful when things aren't going well. My ex girlfriend isn't a bitch, although it would be a lot simpler if she were, but there is a visible imbalance in the power dynamics between the two of them. Since November of last year, she has been continually attempting to break up with me on a regular basis, but I have always managed to avoid it, and we have always been okay the following day. Then, during our most recent disagreement, I refused to back down because I believed I was in the right, and I wanted to know whether she would fight for us in the same way that I was fighting for us. She didn't do it. She formally ended her relationship with me for the third time. That is, I understand better. I understand my own deservingness of better, and I understand that the power dynamics will never shift to my satisfaction, and that in the end, I will be the one who will be battling. Yet the thought of losing her utterly tears my heart. When I think I'm okay, I read her messages to me and I cry. I remember something about us from absolutely everything, and it breaks me. I close my eyes, and every memory of us plays back in my head like the world's saddest slideshow. I close my eyes, and every memory of us plays back in my head like the world's saddest slideshow. In the meanwhile, my ex girlfriend contacted me a few of days ago, and I got the impression that she wanted to try again. She has since written me 2 lengthy messages, one of which is presently sitting in my inbox since I don't have the energy to read it just yet. There's a part of me that wishes we could get back together simply to be together again. A part of me wants nothing more than to see her smile and hear her voice again, but another part of me is more insistent since I don't trust her quite so completely. After a few weeks, I'm not sure if I can trust her with my heart again in the sense that I might easily fall in love with her again, but I'm frightened that she could change her mind, and I don't want to be forced back into ugly tears. Unfortunately, I am unable to provide links to my other postings on other subs, but If you are interested, you may go to my profile and see them to get a better sense of the extent of my work in general. Sorry for the lengthy read, people. I'm just so conflicted right now, and I'm terrified that no matter what option I make, I'll make a mistake and ruin everything. Thank you very much, gentlemen. I adore each and every one of you.